All right. Habariza Sabui, Habariza Mchana, Habariza Gioni, brothers and sisters all over the world. The name of this channel is The African Times, and I'm Thomas. All right, hope everybody is having a great new year. My new year is going okay. I told many of you before, just a little update. My experience with the medical system. It's great so far. Like I said, the service is fantastic. I'm here at the hospital, and procedure was completed. Procedure was completed and done well. So that's really good. Now what I'm doing, I'm actually telling you because it's very important for you to know that one of the things that is important to understand is you hear people say that what happens to us in our lives are our own fault. It's stuff that we did or the result of our own actions, and that there are a group of people, you hear me talk about it a lot, the W's. They really have nothing to do with it. It's something that you did, and you can change, and you can do everything yourself. So let me explain something to you. I was very disappointed and hurt, actually, that what I'm going through is the procedure that I'm involved in. I really shouldn't be going through this procedure, but you have to understand, when I was a kid, there was a group of people who brought in our neighborhoods cocaine, drugs, crack. You guys remember it. Well, this is real. This is not made up. All of my friends, the majority of us that I went to high school with, every single one of them, with the exception of maybe 2, maybe 3, one being me, all went to prison for selling cocaine. And the problem with that is it's not just the selling of the cocaine that's the problem. That's not it. Who were you selling it to? And they were using it. So then you have these ailments in our society, among our people, that are the direct result of being exposed to that drug. And the medical system, by the W's, they're going to support the misdirection of your mind to the real cause of the problem. They're never going to say, yes, we sold drugs to the people, to the community, so since we did that, you're going to have another group of people who are going to suffer from the result of these drugs. They're not going to tell you that. And I'm not talking about the drugs that they sell you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the cocaine, the crack, and then the alcohol and all the other things that Western system promotes. And they tell you that these drugs come into the neighborhood like, oh, it's the little drug dealer on the street corner. He's the person that, he's not that person. Somebody had to distribute that, and we all know that. But what we don't understand is the generational impact that those very, very harmful drugs have on our lives. And then to say that the W's have nothing to do with that simply isn't true. They have the planes, they have the plants, they have the organization, they have the police force, they have the social organizations designer. So, once again, my life, your life, and the lives of all of us is impacted by this. And we have to understand it because it's still going on. It's going on in every aspect of our lives. The crack cocaine is just one. But to distribute that type of drug into our neighborhood, only our neighborhoods, in that fashion, to overrun our neighborhoods like that, That's not something I can make up, forget, and act like, oh, it's okay and that never happened and all of that. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. And we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that, because doing that would be to be throwing away history. And if you throw away the history, you know, then they can repeat that history against you. So I'm here at the hospital. I'm not going to talk long. I'm going to let you go. But I'm dealing with the effects of that. You know, and it's not something that I take lightly. I don't like it. I think that it's a horrible situation. And remember, to show you again, these individuals, the W's, through their media, their social media, their music media, their television, glorified the selling and distribution and manufacturing of these products, glorified it, so that our young boys would go out and distribute it in our community. And then they glorified the fact that, remember, individualism, but it doesn't matter that your community is being damaged. It doesn't matter. Just make you some money. You remember? And understand, it was them who did it, because all of the different record companies and television shows and movies and all of them, we don't own that. We don't control that. And I remember the lies that they told us over and over again that, well, you know, this is what the people want to see. This is what the people want to see. No. Nobody came to my house and knocked on that door and asked me, did I want to see that? And we know it's not true. It's not what people wanted to see. It's just not true. What is true is the fact that many of us in my generation and young people, I'm talking to you brothers 25, 20, 25, 30. See, you're going to have kids too. You're going to have kids too. Nobody knocked on my door and asked me, you want to see drugs? You want to see gangster? Do you want to see? This is what they said. This is what that was a complete change from the 60s, the 50s, and the 40s, with the music, the uniforms, the attire, the costumes, even in the 70s. Whole different change. We didn't ask for that. The Nielsen rating said, no, ain't no Nielsen rating. Ain't nobody knocking on your door, and I don't care if they did. You gonna tell them you want to see violence, death, harm to your people? That's what you want to see? No, it's simply not true, okay? It's just simply not true. It's just not true. And you know, because one of the biggest entertainers in the world, Michael Jackson, remember the whole 60s music? I'm from Detroit. I saw what they built. And it was not built based on death and destruction. Motown? No. So somebody made a decision. Now, there's a brother out there who has a whole series of videos on it. It's really good. Irritated Genie. Look it up. It's really good. And again, when I tell you about different people, I'm only telling you because the information is good. You can choose your own information or whatever. But what I'm saying to you is look it up. We cannot continue to accept the cultural changes that these people are instituting through their media, television, radio, film, social media, all of it, where the images that they project of us and our people and the promotion of ideas and values that are not even natural, they're anti-life. And they're promoting this material. They're doing it through our music and with our artists. If you want to be famous and on the white people, then okay, then you got to present this image. Now, I know I did some work in that field for a long time. I'll give you a couple of examples. One, we were producing a play, national tour, going around the country, and there was a promoter, there was a promoter. He was the one promoting the show, backing it, financing it, the whole 9 yards. when we had the show and we were going across the country, there was one scene. Now, I didn't write this show, but there was one scene. In the scene, they had a street scene. They were kind of basing it like I can't remember the name of it, but it was a street scene where you had, kind of ladies of the night. You had some men and that kind of thing, and the whole drug selling thing, because that's what they were doing. There happened to be a W on the street scene who was a lady of the night. She was selling her services. So after rehearsal, this particular promoter came to us. I was one of the directors at the time, assistant director, came to us and said, hey, listen, we need to talk about this scene. And I remember being in the meeting listening, and the director was like, oh, what's wrong with it? And the writer, and he's like, something about that's not right. Something about it not right. And he said, it's that lady right there. She looks out of place. And we were like, what lady? Because there's a bunch of ladies on stage, majority of which were sisters. And he said, that one. And he pointed to the blonde-haired lady. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady. He said, her in that role, it just doesn't fit right with the scene. It just doesn't look right. So you guys may want to consider maybe giving her a different role. Now, she was just among several ladies of the night selling their services. On stage, of course. But she, according to him, looked out of place. Do you understand? So in order to keep getting the funding to produce the show, to take the show across the country, we had to remove her from that scene, leaving only what? Sisters up there. Now, I didn't write this. I don't really do work like that. I was young and I was coming up, and it was a job, and I had to do it before I, understood. And the young lady, to her credit, she really didn't want to do that, but the issue was they had the funding, and that was the only thing that they were going to fund. Now, that's one example. Another example, I'm in Hollywood. I'm in an acting school in Hollywood, and I was one of the best in the class, and I was one of the leading, and I had potential to have a career. And these people told me, after meeting with this big agent, told me to, okay, we want you to talk to this brother. He can help you get your career going. And so they sent me over this guy. He told me, he said, hey, listen, all you have to do, I'm gonna tell you where to go. You go over to this restaurant. And in this restaurant, there are going to be a lot of old W guys. And when you're there, there's going to be a guy, he'll probably come up to you or talk to you or whatever. And when he does, what he's going to want to do is interact with you. Now, I'm on the program, so do you understand what I'm talking about? He's going to want to interact with you. He's going to want to, kind of service you. All right? And the brother was telling me this, and he was like, well, you just close your eyes and, you act like it's, a woman or whatever, and it'll be all over. And then after that, the parts and things like that, they're going to start to come. Okay. Now, I'm here on YouTube, so needless to say, I'm not a big star over there. And I didn't want to be. But that type of activity, that kind of thing is real. And many of you know, if you've been following some of these celebrities, it's real. Now, why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that because the same situation occurred when I was a child that changed the groups from the Spinners, the Temptations, to New Edition, to Boys to Men. It changed these images that were coming out before us into the gangster rap, the thug, this, and producing those artists only. And even me, coming up in the music industry, they told me you got to be a little bit more urban, you got to be a little more hip hop, these are the terms that they were using back then. And that wasn't the kind of music I was writing. But if I wanted my career to kind of take off, then I had to kind of have that flavor. Okay, and they're very, genteel in how they present it to you, but that's what they're saying. That resulted in a lot of people listening to the messages every day, over and over again, singing the songs, and it replays in your mind over and over and over and over again. And then your attitude changes and your behavior changes. Then it becomes a social norm among the people because culturally they've been indoctrinated with these messages over and over and over and over and over again, subconsciously. And then you start to carry out these behaviors, and before you know it, if every image you see is of somebody walking around with a briefcase full of money, which that was actually on a video, guy walking around with a briefcase full of money and the federal cops are following him. He gets in the elevator, his girl is in the elevator, but the cops don't know that it's his girl, she's in the elevator. He sets his briefcase down, he walks out, leaves the briefcase full of cocaine with the girl, and he walks out, all the federal agents come and they grab him and they hold him, and he's smiling because, man, he know he got away with it because he done left it with his girl. She walking out, got his briefcase going to continue to carry the drug business, and everybody's happy because they can't prove nothing with him because he don't have the drugs on him, but he left him with the woman. And that was being portrayed in a video on TV as if like, wow, yeah, the brother got over. Yeah. You risk the life of that sister, which you should never do. You poison the community, which you should never do. And then you teach the children that this whole storyline is okay. Now, as a result, you have families with children affected by these drugs that they've been taking. Children who now have medical conditions as a result of being contaminated with these drugs. Not your drugs, you ain't make them. And even if you did, why you making drugs like that? Where you get that information from? Who told you that that's a good thing to do? You could have spent that same energy and time and effort building multi-international corporations. And you could do that. You're bright enough to, distribute. Okay, so So now, years later, decades later, we're still dealing with the fallout from this. And this is systematic of these people. These people, when you talk about drugs, the war on drugs, when you talk about it, do you understand? They did the same thing to the Indians with the alcohol and all of this. They did the same thing to the Chinese society with the opium. They did it to us with the cocaine. Do you understand? And now they have a new thing, whatever it is today. It's not going to change. And this is what I keep telling you, people. Please understand, me, you, and us, we are in this together. So when I say I'm telling you people because remember the guy riding through the neighborhood sounding off the alarm? I'm telling you. So that you don't become confused and distracted and believe that, no, it's us. We've got some kind of internal flaw in us as a people that we, are doing these very bad things. No, this is a part of their whole system. Certain portion of the population, they would love to have destroyed because they don't have the jobs. They don't have that anymore for you. So what are they going to do for you? They can't make the prisons fast enough. And then they also have to have the look and the image and the propaganda to be able to say, no, it's you. You're a bad person. Remember what I told you with the Indians? Oh, they're savages. So what? You can kill them. You can treat them savagely. You can do bad things to them. Because why? If you don't, they're going to harm society. Okay? All right. So I'm sorry. And I'm not sorry. I got to quit saying that, by the way. No, but the problem is that sorry that it's happening to us, and I'm sorry that I have to come before you and say these things because this is real, what's happening to us as a people. And if we don't wake up, come together and understand and say, okay, we are going to now become united in action and purpose with intentionality to solve these problems, they're going to continue. And I love the children too much to sit back and continue to accept this through some false lie of multiculturalism, we love each other, all that, but all this damage is happening to us. So I love you guys. So this is how my day is starting out. I'm finishing up a little bit. I'm gonna go back. I gotta get some stuff, and then I'm gonna go back in the room. So I love you guys. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Uhuru, uhuru, uhuru.